Hello and welcome to Insomniac Histories. Imagine waking in absolute darkness. The only sound a distant crow of a rooster somewhere in the castle town. Your body aches from yesterday's training. Your hand instinctively reaches for the katana that lies beside your sleeping mat, confirming it is still there, still within reach. You are in feudal Japan, in the household of a mid-ranking samurai, and today, like every day, will be governed by duty, discipline, and the ever-present shadow of death. Tonight, we will live an entire day in your life, hour by hour, ritual by ritual. We will move through the pre-dawn darkness to your training, through the tedium of administrative duties, through moments of beauty and poetry, and back to the night. We will experience not just what you do, but what you feel, what you fear, and what gives your life meaning in a world where honor matters more than survival. This is not a tale of battles or glory. This is the unvarnished truth of a single day in a samurai's existence, the repetition and rhythm that defined a warrior's life. But before we step into this day, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe. It's a simple and wonderful way to support the channel, and it means a great deal to me. I'm also always curious to know where in the world and at what time you're joining me tonight. So I'd really love to hear from you in the comments. And now, settle in, let the noise of the modern world fade away, and let us enter the intimate reality of feudal Japan, where every movement was prescribed, every hour accounted for, and every day was preparation for the one on which you might die. The hour is somewhere between midnight and dawn. You cannot see the sky through the paper screens that serve as walls, but you sense the time. Your body has been trained since childhood to wake at this hour. You do not need light or a servant to rouse you. Sleep ends because it must. You lie still for a moment on your futon, feeling the coarse weave of your cotton sleeping robe against your skin. The room is cold. Japan in winter is brutally cold, and there is no heat in your sleeping chamber. Your breath forms small clouds in the darkness. You can hear your wife breathing softly in the adjacent room, separated from you by nothing but a sliding screen. In the summer, you might hear insects. In winter, there is only silence, broken occasionally by the settling of wood or the distant bark of a dog. You rise smoothly, without stretching or groaning. To make unnecessary noise will be undignified. You have slept with your sword beside you, as you always do. A samurai is never unarmed, even in sleep. You feel for them in the darkness, the familiar weight and shape confirming their presence. You fold your futon with precise movements, placing it in the closet built into the wall. The room must be returned to perfect order. There is a right way to fold bedding, a right way to arrange everything. You have known these ways since you were 5 years old. You move to the small washing area. There is a basin of water, cold enough to make your hands ache when you plunge them in. You splash your face, the shock of it driving away the last remnants of sleep. You do not use much water. Water is precious and must be carried from the well. You dry your face on a rough cloth and then begin the process of dressing. First, the fundoshi, a loincloth that wraps between your legs and around your waist. Then a light cotton robe, the tedium, worn directly against the skin. Over this, a heavier robe tied at the waist. And then the kimono, a simple one in dark indigo, without decoration. You are not dressing for ceremony today. This is a working day. The kimono is tied with an obi, wrapped multiple times around your waist, and tied in a square knot at the back. Your fingers know these movements by memory. You have dressed yourself in darkness 1,000 times. Finally, you kneel before the sword stand. This is the most important moment of the morning. You lift the katana first, feeling its weight, running your hand along the scabbard to check for any imperfection. The sword is more than a weapon. It is the physical manifestation of your soul. To carry a dull or dirty sword would be to carry a dull or dirty soul. You slide it into your obi on your left side, edge up. The wakizashi, the shorter companion sword, goes beside it. Only now are you fully dressed. Only now are you truly samurai. You slide open the screen that separates your room from the rest of the house and step into the main living area. A single lamp burns in the corner, its oil flame casting long shadows. Your wife is already awake, kneeling by the hearth in the center of the room. She has started a small fire, feeding it with pieces of charcoal. She does not look up as you enter. You do not greet each other. Speech at this hour would be an intrusion on the silence. She is preparing tea, heating water in an iron kettle suspended over the fire. You can smell the faint smokiness of the charcoal, hear the beginning whisper of water starting to heat. You kneel on the opposite side of the hearth, sitting in seiza, your legs folded beneath you. Your wife pours hot water over tea leaves in a small pot, then pours the tea into two handleless cups. She slides one across the low table to you. You lift it with both hands, feeling the warmth seep into your palms. The tea is bitter, astringent, clearing your mind. You drink in silence. This is the first ritual of the day. Tea before dawn. Warmth and bitterness to prepare you for what lies ahead. When the tea is finished, you rise. You bow to your wife, a slight inclination of the head. She returns it. You take your wooden practice sword from its place by the door and step outside into pre-dawn cold. The sky is beginning to lighten in the east, a pale gray creeping into the blackness. The air is sharp and clean. You can see your breath. You walk across the gravel courtyard to the practice area, a section of packed earth behind your residence. This is where you train every morning, alone, before the household stirs, before the town wakes. You stand in the center of the space and close your eyes. You breathe slowly, deeply, feeling the cold air fill your lungs. You clear your mind of everything except this moment. This is Makuso meditation before practice. You are not thinking about your duties today. You are not thinking about your family or your Lord. You are thinking about nothing. You are simply present here, now, in this moment before dawn. After several minutes, you open your eyes. You raise the wooden sword and begin. The movements are kata, formal patterns that have been refined over centuries. Each strike, each block, each step is prescribed, perfect, unchanging. You move through them slowly at first, feeling the weight of the sword, the balance of your body, the placement of your feet. Your breath synchronizes with your movement. Strike and exhale. Retreat and inhale. The wooden sword cuts through the cold air with a whistle. Again and again and again. You perform the same sequence 20 times, 30 times. Sweat begins to form despite the cold. Your muscles warm, stretch, respond. This is not exercise in the modern sense. This is a moving meditation, a way of training both body and mind to respond without thought, to act with perfect precision in the instant when thought will be too slow. You shift to faster movements, more aggressive patterns. The sword becomes a blur. Your feet strike the packed earth with rhythmic precision. Strike, turn, block, thrust. The sequence is complex, demanding total focus. There is no room for distraction, no space for your mind to wander. One mistake in kata is a mistake that could cost your life in battle. The sky continues to lighten. You can now see the outlines of buildings, the curve of roof tiles, the bare branches of a cherry tree in the corner of the courtyard. You complete your final sequence and return to the starting position. You are breathing hard now, your body warm despite the cold air. Sweat runs down your back. You perform a final bow to invisible opponents, to your teachers, to the tradition itself. You return the wooden sword to its stand and re-enter the house. Your wife has prepared a morning meal. It is simple. A bowl of rice, still steaming, a small portion of pickled daikon radish, and miso soup with cubes of tofu floating in the cloudy broth. You kneel at the low table and eat slowly, methodically. You do not speak. The food is fuel, nothing more. When you finish, you rinse your mouth with tea, then stand. The sun is now visible on the horizon, a pale disk in the gray sky. The day has officially begun. You adjust your swords and your obi, making sure they sit at exactly the right angle. You slide open the door and step out into the castle town. The streets are coming alive now. Other samurai emerge in their residences, all heading in the same direction, toward the castle. You join the quiet procession. The walk to the castle takes perhaps 15 minutes. You pass through districts of increasing proximity to power. The outer areas house lower-ranking samurai and their families. Closer in are the residences of higher-ranking officials. And at the center, dominating everything, is the castle itself. It is not beautiful in the way that later castles will be, with their white plaster and elegant curves. This is a fortress built for war. Its walls are thick stone, its towers are squat and functional. You enter through the outer gate, passing guards who recognize you and nod. You climb the path that zigzags up the hillside, passing through multiple defensive gates. Each turn exposes you to fire from above. This is intentional. The castle is designed to make any attack a nightmare. Finally, you reach the inner compound. Here, the administrative buildings surround a gravel courtyard. You remove your outdoor sandals and slip on the soft indoor slippers provided. You enter the building where you are assigned to serve today and make your way to the large meeting room. Inside, 30 or 40 samurai of similar rank are already kneeling in neat rows. You find your position and kneel. The room is cold. There's a brazier in the corner providing minimal heat, but it does little against the winter chill. You sit in seizel and wait. Minutes pass. Your legs begin to ache, but you do not shift. To move would be to show weakness, to break discipline. More samurai enter and take their positions. Finally, a senior official enters. Everyone bows, foreheads nearly touching the tatami. The official kneels at the front of the room and begins to speak. He outlines the day's assignments. Some samurai will serve on guard duty. Some will patrol the domain's borders. Some will work on administrative tasks. Your name is called. You are assigned to accompany a senior tax collector to 3 villages on the eastern boundary of the domain. You must depart within the hour. You acknowledge the assignment with a quiet hi and bow. The briefing continues for another 20 minutes, covering various matters of domain administration, reports from distant provinces, and reminders about proper conduct. Then it concludes and everyone bows again. You file out of the room, retrieve your outdoor sandals, and make your way to the stables. A horse is prepared for you, a sturdy animal, nothing elegant. You are not a cavalry samurai. This is simply transportation. You mount and join 2 other samurai and a clerk who will record the tax collections. You ride out to the castle gates and into the countryside. The landscape is beautiful in a stark winter way. The rice paddies are empty and brown, waiting for spring planting. The mountains rise in the distance, their peaks dusted with snow. The road is hard-packed earth, rutted from cart wheels. You ride in silence. The other samurai are not friends. They are colleagues, bound by duty, not affection. The clerk rides behind, hunched against the cold. The first village appears after an hour's ride. It is a collection of perhaps 30 houses, simple structures with thatched roofs. Smoke rises from cooking fires. Children playing in the dirt freeze when they see you approaching. They run to alert their parents. By the time you reach the center of the village, the entire population has assembled. They kneel in the dirt, their foreheads pressed down in submission. The village headman, an old man with a weathered face, approaches on his knees. He bows until his forehead touches the ground. The senior samurai dismounts. You and the other samurai remain on horseback, positioned to observe, to intimidate, to enforce. The headman presents the village's tax payment, measured in rice. The amount was determined months ago based on the harvest assessment. The clerk counts the sacks of rice, making notes on a wax-covered board with a stylus. The senior samurai asks if there are any issues, any problems in the village. The headman hesitates. There was a fire last month. 3 families lost their homes. The village is asking for a reduction in the tax burden to allow them to rebuild. The senior samurai considers this. His face reveals nothing. Finally, he speaks. The tax cannot be reduced. The domain's needs are fixed. But the 3 families will be allowed to pay their portion over the next 2 seasons rather than immediately. The headman thanks him profusely, bowing again and again. You watch him passively. This is not cruelty. This is simply the way things are. The domain needs rice to feed its samurai, to maintain its military readiness, to fulfill its obligations to the shogun. The needs of individual farmers, while not irrelevant, cannot override these larger necessities. The transaction concludes. The rice is loaded onto a cart that will follow you back to the castle. You remount and ride to the next village. The scene repeats, and then a third time. By the time you finish at the third village, the sun is well past its zenith and beginning its descent toward the western horizon. You are cold, tired, and hungry. You have not eaten since the small morning meal. The journey back to the castle takes another hour. You return the horse to the stable, make your report to the senior official, and are finally dismissed. The afternoon is nearly gone. You walk back through the castle town to your residence. Your wife has prepared the evening meal. It is similar to morning meal. Rice, soup, pickled vegetables, a small piece of grilled fish. You eat in silence. The food is simple but adequate. When you finish, there is a brief moment of personal time before the evening obligations. You go to your small study, a room barely large enough to kneel in. There is a low desk, an inkstone, a few brushes, and some paper. You prepare ink, grinding an ink stick against a stone with a few drops of water until consistency is right. You dip your brush and begin to write. You are composing a poem, a brief haiku about the winter fields you rode through today. The act of writing is meditative. Each brushstroke must be deliberate, controlled. The characters flow onto the paper. You read what you have written. It is adequate, nothing more. You are not a great poet, but you are competent. Samurai must be cultured as well as martially skilled. To be only a warrior is to be barbaric. Poetry, calligraphy, tea ceremony. These arts refine the spirit and provide balance to the violence of your profession. You set the poem aside to dry and clean your brushes carefully. Everything must be maintained. Everything returned to its proper state. As darkness falls, you light a lamp and prepare for the final ritual of the day. You remove your swords from your obi and kneel before them. You draw the katana from its scabbard and examine the blade in the lamplight. The steel gleams, perfect and deadly. You inspect every inch, looking for any spot of rust, any imperfection. Finding none, you wipe the blade with rice paper to remove the thin film of oil from this morning's maintenance. Then you apply a fresh, thin layer of oil, protecting the steel from moisture in the air. You return a katana to its scabbard and repeat the process with the wakizashi. This ritual takes perhaps 20 minutes, but it is time well spent. Your swords are your life. To neglect them would be to court death. When both swords are clean and oiled, you return them to their stand. You bow to them, a gesture of respect and gratitude. These weapons will protect you. They may also end your life if honor demands seppuku. They are companions, tools, and potential executioners all at once. You prepare for sleep. You remove your outer garments, folding each piece precisely and storing it in its designated place. You wear only your sleeping robe now. You pull out your futon from the closet and spread it on the tatami. You lie down, the swords once again within arm's reach. The lamp is extinguished. Darkness fills the room. You can hear the sound of the night. The wind moving through the eaves. The distant sound of the castle's night watch calling the hour. Your wife's soft breathing in the next room. You think about the day. The morning training. The cold ride to the villages. The headman's pleas. The poem you wrote. Tomorrow will be much the same. And the day after. And the day after that. This is your life, an endless cycle of duty, discipline, and service. There is no escape from it, but you do not wish to escape. This is who you are. This is what you were born to be. You think about Bushido, the code that governs every aspect of your existence. Loyalty that cannot be questioned. Honor that cannot be compromised. Courage that does not falter. And above all, the acceptance that your life is not your own. It belongs to your Lord. If he calls you to battle tomorrow, you will go. If he orders you to die, you will obey. This is not oppression. This is meaning. In a world of uncertainty, the code gives you certainty. You know what is expected. You know what is right. You know who you are. There's a kind of peace in that, even as there is also a weight. You are not free, but freedom is not what you seek. You seek to live with honor, to serve with loyalty, to die well when the time comes. And until that time, you will wake before dawn, train with your sword, fulfill your duties, compose your poems, and maintain your weapons. Day after day, year after year, this is the life of samurai. As you drift toward sleep, you are already anticipating tomorrow's pre-dawn training. Your body will ache when you wake. The cold will bite. The kata will demand perfection. The administrative work will be tedious. The weight of your swords will press against your side, and you will accept all of it, embrace all of it, because this is your path. You are samurai, and there is no higher calling, no greater honor. Sleep comes gradually. Your last thought's a mixture of gratitude for the day completed and resolve for the day to come. The temple bell sounds in the distance, marking the late hour. And then there is only darkness and silence and the deep stillness of a winter night in feudal Japan. Tomorrow, the cycle will begin again, and you will be ready. The life we have witnessed today is not extraordinary. There were no battles, no dramatic confrontations, no moments of legendary heroism. There was only the steady rhythm of duty and discipline. But this is the truth of samurai existence. The battles were rare. The glory was fleeting. What endured was the daily practice, the constant maintenance of skills and honor, the acceptance of role that defined every hour of every day. If you had lived this life, you would have known a kind of clarity that modern life rarely offers. Every action had meaning because it was part of a larger code. Every hardship was bearable because it had purpose. You would have been both prisoner and master your fate, bound by obligations you did not choose, but finding dignity and pride in fulfilling them perfectly. And so our day in feudal Japan comes to a close. We have woken in darkness, trained in cold, served without question, and found beauty in small rituals. We have understood, perhaps, what it meant to be samurai, not in legend, but in life. It has been a true pleasure to be your guide through this intimate journey into the past. Thank you for listening. Until our next journey into history, I wish you a calm and peaceful night.